Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. Yesterday, Sitaram Yechury became the 5th General Secretary of the Communist Party, Marxist. But he takes over at a time when the party is at its lowest ebb. Worse still, his election might even have divided the party. So how will Mr. Yechury respond to these challenges, and how different will he be as General Secretary to his predecessor, Prakash Karat? With me to answer those questions is the new General Secretary of the CPM, Sitaram Yechury. Mr. Yechury, although in the end you were elected General Secretary unanimously, right till that happened, Ramachandran Pillai seemed to be a contender for the post and was strongly backed by the Kerala unit of your party. In fact, the Indian Express claims that on Sunday morning, Prakash Karat informed the outgoing Central Committee that Pillai had more support in the Politburo than you did. So has the process of your election as General Secretary left the CPM divided?
Not at all. You see, we have a very vibrant inner party democracy. And what a journalist, I don't blame them, but what they perceive as differences of dog fights or fights between leaders are basically airing of different points of view. And then we come to a final consensual decision. And that is what is reflected in the unanimity.
Then can I ask you this?
There's absolutely nothing divided.
Can I ask you this? Do you as General Secretary today have the full support of Pinari Vijayan and the Kerala unit, or is that something you feel you're going to have to work on to ensure?
You see, the support that you generate within the party, being the General Secretary, is going to be based on the work that the party as a whole does. And that is the job that has to be discharged. That is what I think, to the best of my ability, I'll have to do.
But that sounds to me as if you're saying you're going to have to earn that support from Vijayan and the Kerala unit. You can't assume it and take it for granted.
I don't think anybody can assume anything of leadership. A leadership always has to be commanded. It cannot be demanded.
All right, that's a very honest answer. People will interpret that answer as they want. Let's come to the challenge you inherit as General Secretary of the CPM. Your party is at the lowest ebb of its 51-year history. You have just 9 Rajya Sabha MPs, just 9 Lok Sabha MPs. How confident are you that you can reverse this decline and prevent the party's fortune sinking further?
Well, it is a very uphill task, but I am confident because our party has always risen from such situations, and it has risen on the basis of its internal strength. So the focus of the party would be to strengthen ourselves internally, and for that we have already announced the convening of an organizational plenum, which will be the basic strength of the party on which we can revive our earlier strength and position, and in fact go ahead of it. So that is what we are focusing right now.
You were honest enough to say that it will be a huge challenge to revive the fortunes of the party. Let me give you a sense of how social media views that challenge. Tweets that went out immediately after your election was announced said that you were chosen to perform the last rites of the CPM. Another set of tweets said your election as General Secretary was comparable to being made captain of the Titanic 2 hours after the ship had hit the iceberg. That's how great the challenge is perceived from the outside.
No, these are just 2 of the tweets you've read out, and both of them, they are right. I mean, I've also come across them. But there are so many other tweets that you're not quoting, Mr. Thapar, and they say things about our ability to rise from such adverse situations, which are also very encouraging. And we shall rise, and only time will tell us whether we succeed or not. But I think we will succeed.
I'll come to your ability to rise perhaps a bit like a phoenix from the ashes. But let me ask you to be honest and tell me, how serious is the state of crisis, if that's the right word, that confronts the CPM today? As the new General Secretary, give me an honest answer about how serious is the crisis.
It is serious. I mean, there is a very serious situation before the party. I did not use the example of the phoenix because the phoenix rises from the ashes. I mean, mercifully, we are not yet the ashes. But the point is that there is a very serious challenge before us. Yes, it's a formidable challenge. And in order to overcome, we have to pull our socks up and firmly, and to start getting down, to strengthen ourselves internally first, and that is organizationally first, and on that basis to unleash the mass struggles through which the party will be able to revive itself and meet both the attacks and the challenges of the time.
So what you're saying to me very honestly when you say the challenge is very serious is that you've inherited a party in a very poor condition, at least in terms of its electoral performance.
But as a communist, we always cherish and we excel in front of challenges. I mean,
yes.
Inheriting something hunky-dory is not really worth the while.
All right. Let's then come to your ability to handle the challenge. The first problem you face is to revive the belief in the left ideology you espouse. Unfortunately, you become General Secretary of the CPM at a time when many people feel the left ideology you believe in is out of sync with the mood of the nation. Mr. Modi's sweeping victory last year in May at the Lok Sabha and his subsequent state-level victories are believed to have shifted the country significantly to the right. How are you going to make India once again believe in the left-wing ideology you espouse?
You see, I can answer your question at different planes, Mr. Thapa. You see, first of all, that after the Lok Sabha victory, do not tell us that the subsequent victories at the state level, the vote percentage Mr. Modi polled was much less than what he polled in the Lok Sabha. And secondly, don't talk about the opposition not being, just remember what happened in Delhi when the BJP was reduced to 3, when the Modi himself came into the fray, virtually announcing that he'll be Delhi Chief Minister as well. So leave those points aside. But the more substantial issue is that yes, Marxism we have believed, and I believe personally as well, and very strongly, is the concrete analysis of concrete conditions. If our analysis does not keep pace with the changing conditions, then I believe we are not Marxists. So if there have been anything that has been lagging there, and they have been, we have to overcome these lags. As the conditions are changing, we have to keep pace with them. And that is what you are talking about, the disconnect between what is happening in the modern world and the communists. And that breaking the disconnect precisely is the essence of Marxism.
Absolutely.
And that is what we have to do.
Can I pick you up on that? Because I think that area is the one I want to explore in particular. In an interview to the Times of India this morning, you said there would be change in the style of functioning. You're talking about having to adapt to changing conditions so that the disconnect between the people and the party disappears. What are the sort of changes you envisage? What are the sort of changes you have in your mind? Share them with us.
I will, because you please understand, there has been, let's say, an exponential change in terms of the technological levels of communication. I mean, it's no longer necessary for you to be literate in our country in order to be abreast with what's happening in the world and in the country. You have these electronic channels that give you the news, even if you are not able to read a newspaper. That's a very tectonic shift, a very big tectonic shift. So the ability to communicate with the people, the methods of that communication have to change. And if they do not change, then you are back into a Jurassic Park situation. So we have to come to terms with these new conditions. And that is precisely one of the big tasks at hand, that your ability to utilize these advantages in order to communicate to the people. And at the same time, these technological advances have increased the levels of aspiration of the people. It's a different matter. These aspirations are not being met, and in my opinion will never be met by the sort of policies that we have today. That's, as I said, a different matter. But these aspirations have to be addressed. You cannot have a political party which is vibrant and which considers itself meaningful in Indian politics if it doesn't address these issues.
Can I come in at that point? You're saying two very interesting things. You're saying first, the medium of communication from the CPM would have to change. It would have to become more in line with the modern tectonic developments in communication. But you're also saying when you talk about aspiration, that the message the CPM sends out would also have to change. Both medium and message would have to change.
Yes, definitely. And the message is there already clear to the youth of this country, which is our majority. In fact, two-thirds of our people in our country are below the age of 40. What does the CPM say? We have the resources in India. We have the natural resources and the manpower resources. All that we have to do is to equip our youth with good education, good health and job opportunities, and they will create a better India without any further assistance or interference.
But then you're saying something
What is
else.
required is to change that set of policy.
You're saying
change a set of policies to enable to do this. And it's only the left that offers the alternative that can achieve this.
Again, you're saying something
And that
very
is going
significant.
to be,
You're saying as regards
That
the
is our
challenge of
USP.
attracting the youth, because as you pointed out in previous interviews, one of the problems the CPM has is that you haven't been able to appeal to the youth, to the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds. Now you're saying to be able to appeal to them, you have to talk to them in terms of their concerns, health, education, most importantly, getting jobs. In other words, you have to say to them things that apply to them in their lives and cater for their needs.
that's right, because there is no dichotomy with what applies to the youth of our country and what applies to the progress of the nation. And if these things that apply to the youth of the country can be achieved, then the nation progresses automatically.
Okay.
And that is the USP of the CPIM. We are the only ones that can give that alternative set of policies.
You've been very open and honest and revealing in the fact that you will change both the medium as well as the message of your communication, and in doing so you hope to be able to target the youth who have been not very many in their membership of your party, and you will do so by addressing their concerns of health, education, employment. There's something else you said at the address you delivered shortly after becoming elected as General Secretary. You said you would try and correct weaknesses that had crept into the party. What are the sort of principal weaknesses you're prepared to admit to this evening? Share those with us.
Well, you see, one obvious weakness that we have admitted to, which we need to correct very urgently, is the inability of the organizational structure of ours to meet the demands of the current situation. That is why we have already decided in this Congress to have this organizational plenum before the end of this year in order to make these necessary changes in our organizational structures. And that is a very important aspect for a Communist Party, mind you, because organization is our vehicle to carry our political understanding to the people.
How serious are the organizational weaknesses you're talking about? How serious are they?
Well, they are serious. That's why we are calling a special plenum to discuss them, which in our parlance is as good as a party congress.
And you're also suggesting that these organizational weaknesses have not been addressed for a while, which is why they've become serious. They've been allowed to fester, which is why they've become serious now.
I wouldn't say they've not been addressed, but they have not been addressed adequately in order to overcome the weaknesses.
All right.
That inadequacy has to be overcome.
That's a very honest answer you're giving me. Now, one of the critical problems you face is Bengal, which used to be a bastion of the CPM. But in that state, you're losing out not just to the Trinamool, but the September by-election results suggest that you're losing out to the BJP. For instance, in Basira Dakshin, your vote share was reduced to just 13.1%. The BJP was almost 3 times more at 37.4%. How huge a challenge does Bengal pose for you?
No, it is a very big challenge. It is a very big challenge, though I believe, and I'm sure I'll be proved right even in these corporation elections, that the sort of a movement towards BJP is only transient. That under the face of a very grave attack, the politics of violence, terror and intimidation practiced by the Trinamool Congress in West Bengal, many people had looked upon the BJP as a protector, as a protection because they have the central government. but that has not been forthcoming, so that sort of a shift is only, I believe, is only transient. The basic fight there is going to be between the left and the anti-democratic forces, and which we see in an all-round fashion being unleashed.
Can I ask you this? Do you believe you're in a position to effectively challenge Mamta at the next elections in 2017, just about 2 years away? Do you really believe you can win back the state, or do you think it'll take perhaps another 5 years beyond that?
You see, in terms of electoral terms, I mean, it'll be very difficult to predict, Mr. Thapar, because it all depends at that point of time when the elections are being held, how effectively we are able to combat this politics of terror. Remember, from 2009 onwards, we have nearly lost 500 of our very crucial and important cadre who were murdered in Bengal.
Sure.
Absolutely, because I mean, it just diverged, or let's say separated, that vital link of the party structure with the people. Now that has to be filled up. We are making the efforts. How effectively we'll be able to do that, that only time will tell us, but we want to hasten that process.
Okay. Now, you know,
we have to build this resistance.
As you position
resistance to these attacks.
As you position yourself to rebuild the party and to bring it back to bigger numbers in parliament, to bring it back to a more controlling stake in its bastions like Bengal and Kerala, what sort of relationship will you have with Congress, Sonia and Rahul Gandhi? Will you be now more willing to work more closely both within and outside Parliament, or will you still hold them at arm's length?
You see, in Parliament on issues, we have cooperated in the past, we will cooperate in the future. On the land bill, we have worked together to the Honorable President of India. So there are two issues, according to us, on which we will seek the cooperation of all well-meaning political parties, including the Congress, if it's willing to come on issues of fight against communalism, on the anti-people policies and legislations that the Modi government is contemplating. And we've done that in the past, but it will only be issue-based. Okay. It's not an electoral alliance, it's not an electoral front, that it cannot be. After all, many of the policies that Mr. Modi is now aggressively pursuing are the policies that Dr. Manmohan Singh put in place.
Okay.
So that opposition to those policies continues with the Congress.
One last question.
But in today's circumstances, on issues.
One last question, and this time it's about you personally. In addition to being General Secretary of the CPM, you are also the CPM leader in the Rajya Sabha, and you still have 2 years more left of your term. But if you were to resign, then in the present circumstances, there's very little chance of the CPM winning that seat back. For that reason alone, will you continue as both General Secretary and a member of the Rajya Sabha?
Well, ideally speaking, and honestly, in the interest of the party, I should not continue with my Rajya Sabha seat any longer after becoming the General Secretary. But in the correct circumstances that you explained, it is a very important choice that the party has to make. We will collectively decide upon it, but as of now, I continue to be a member in the Rajya Sabha, and you'll surely see me in the House in the rest of this budget session, doing what I always do.
One last question. Now that you're General Secretary, what role will Prakash Karath play in the CPM?
He is a member of our Politburo, a member of our Central Committee, and is a Politburo, and having served the party as a General Secretary for 10 years, he'll have an important role to play in providing both the inputs and in helping the organizational decisions to fructify. So he's a member of the collective, and the strength of the CPIM always lies in its collective, and when that is diluted, the CPIM becomes weakened, and that is what is being testified by history.
All right, Sitaram Yechury, let's leave it there. My thanks to you for coming onto this program and explaining so openly and candidly about the challenges you face, the way you're going to change the messaging as well as the medium, the way you're going to approach the youth, as well as the nature of the weaknesses you need to correct as well as the policy that you'll have and the relationship with the Congress party. That was Sitaram Yechury, the new General Secretary of the CPM. And there we end this particular episode. If you have been, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night.